The move and copy utility allows us to move information between two sequential files or between partition data sets. In particular, we will have several screens here where we are prompted to define the file we are moving from, as well as the file that we are moving to. In the case of partition data sets, we have several options available to ensure that we either replace identically named members that may already exist, or we can choose to just copy the members over that do not already have duplicates. In addition, we can also simply specify that the libraries themselves that be copied, and then we will be prompted in a screen where we can specifically select individual members that we wish to copy. The dataset list utility, as we said, this is the one that is the most general. And in this case, normally what we will be working with are data sets that belong to a category. Specifically, these might be data sets that all belong to you as a TSO user. They may be system data sets. But in general, what we can use then is the dataset name level or the volume serial in order to narrow the scope of what it is that we want to look at. In addition, we have several categories of information that we can use in order to obtain information about the volumes they reside on. We can look at space allocations, we can look at the data attributes, or we can see all of these displays in total so that we have an understanding about what the attributes and characteristics of all these different data sets are. In this example, you can see that we have all of the data sets listed here for user 01. And so from this, we can place a slash next to any of the data sets that we want, and this will bring a pop-up window that allows us to see what all the options are that we can choose in order to operate on this data set. Generally speaking, you will use this then to be able to browse a data set, to edit a data set, to rename a data set, delete it, and perform all of the normal actions that you could individually perform using the first three options under the utilities, but we can perform all of them under 3.4. In this case, the pop-up window provides us the insights to be able to see what the various options are that we can use here. And you can see that we can gather information, we can perform actions, we can operate on individual members, as well as invoking the search utilities and the other functions in order to be able to examine the data that is in them. One of the other utility functions that is lesser used is the ISPF statistics. ISPF statistics are stored in the directory blocks of these partition data sets, and they contain basic information about the individual members, such as the number of lines that belongs to each of the members, which is in their size, when they were created, when they were changed, as well as the user ID of the individual that last modified it or that created it. These statistics are useful for sometimes keeping track of changes, although they don't serve a strong audit trail function. They are mostly useful for being able to determine when something has changed and to manage your own environment. So that if you have an item, for example, that's changed, it's very easy to sort on the changed column, for example, and ensure that you bring the latest changes up to the top. In addition, if somebody does make a modification other than the original owner, the user ID will be stored in here so that it can be easily tracked to see who was the last change that took place. This can also be quite useful when many of the items that we may have may originate in vendor products. And as such, anytime we've customized or we make changes to existing partition data sets that contain vendor code, we can determine which ones were changed locally versus which were those that were distributed as part of the original product. We can reset these statistics using the 3.5 option. Generally speaking, we don't really do this simply because there's no benefit to simply eliminating the statistics. Of primary use here is that if we wanted to clear the statistics so that we can begin tracking or that we can do something to collect new information for a bunch of data that's already existed for some time. As a normal matter, of course, there's not much incident to reset the ISPF statistics just on that basis alone.